Hello everyone, I'm Vince Sandusky, SMACNA's CEO, and with me today is Dana Thompson, one of Washington, D.C.'s premier lobbyists, particularly on the pension reform issue, and fortunately for SMACNA, part of our legislative team. Dana, along with Stan Colby, represent your interests as SMACNA contractors on Capitol Hill and been doing so very well for quite some time. We're here today to talk a little bit about the pension reform efforts that are ongoing and how you can be a part of those to ensure that success. Dana?
Thanks, Vince. Well, there is no bigger legislative priority for SMACNA than pension reform. We've already been going to Capitol Hill lobbying for a comprehensive pension reform proposal. We felt like the SMACNA members needed to know what we're trying to achieve on Capitol Hill. Now, Vince has taken a leading role in the Joint Labor Management Retirement Security Review Commission, and I really wanted him to give you the major components of what we're trying to implement on Capitol Hill and why it's important to contractors.
Thanks, Dana. I think most of you know, 2 years ago, SMACNA formed a pension reform task force to develop our goals and priorities in this issue. Their recommendations were adopted by our board, and they've been our marching orders as we've been going forward. And those goals are important to stay here up front so they can put the recommendations in context. First, the goal is to make sure that the plans will be able to continually and perpetually deliver the promise of a secure and reliable retirement income to the plan beneficiaries. Second, and most important to us as SMACNA contractors, is the reform proposals have to be structured in a way to reduce or actually eliminate the financial risk to employers for participating in these plans. With that in mind, and carrying those goals into the Commission, the recommendations that the Commission came out with actually, I believe, achieve these goals. And let me talk to you just very briefly about them in 3 sections, really. There's recommendations that deal with preservation. There is a block of plans out there, maybe 60% of the plans or more, that are in the green zone. They're fairly well funded. They don't need a lot of help in order to survive and to provide those promised benefits. But all plans need to have the tools to ensure that they stay healthy and react to the changing economic environments. So there is a series of technical corrections to the existing law and regulations that are suggested here under the preservation section to allow those healthy plans to do that, to stay healthy. The second section, and importantly, is remediation. As you know, there are some plans out there that are in trouble, meaning that in the foreseeable future, they may not be able to deliver on the promise of providing the retirement benefits that were originally envisioned. And so those plans need a little bit more help, and not just the help that's only available under today's law. So these provisions in the Act, or in these recommendations, provide trustees with the tools to implement sound financial management policies up to and including the ability to adjust vested benefits for active participants and even those in retirement status. Now, that ability is limited, it's measured, and there's oversight so that things don't get out of whack, so that one group of beneficiaries are more adversely affected than the others. The idea here is to restore the plan to health and do no more that would affect retirees than what would be needed to, again, deliver on those plan benefits. The third section, and the most exciting for SMACNA contractors, is that future plan designs, innovative future plan designs, are envisioned that would allow contractors to participate in the plans without accruing any more financial risk. The plans would be conservatively managed and funded, and that would allow and provide for the concept of withdrawal liability essentially going away. In rare circumstances there could be some, but for the most part, withdrawal liability going forward will not be part of the equation. This will provide contractors with incentives to remain in the plans, and it will help keep those plans healthy.
Well, that's a pretty prescriptive proposal, and one of the things that we talk about on Capitol Hill when we make our visits is the fact that this is not something that just contractors and unions cooked up sitting around a table. It was a very strategic process, and so I want Vince to talk a little bit about the process, how long it took, and why.
Well, it's important to note that the 2006 Pension Plan Act provides that the multi-employer rules for defined benefit programs actually expire at the end of 2014. They sunset, they go away. If nothing is done, the world goes back to the way it was before 2006.
For multi-employer plans.
Yeah, for multi-employer plans. And that is that's an opportunity for us, because Congress is going to have to take some action to either extend or improve or modify those provisions in order to keep plans healthy. So, using that as an opportunity, a coalition of labor and management was formed in order to jointly address the concerns that we all have about keeping those plans healthy. And so for the past 18 months, the Retirement Security Review Commission has met. And I guess it's important to note that there's a group of 40-plus organizations of both labor and management representing all the industries in the United States that are affected by these defined benefit pension plans. This includes transportation, trucking, aerospace, construction, entertainment, building services, and a host of others. We're talking a significant and major labor management group. It's also important to note that construction industry plans represent over 50% of the population of the multi-employer defined benefit plans. So the construction industry employers really had a strong vested interest and a strong amount of participation into this process as we came up with these goals. The bottom line here is that we knew because of the climate on Capitol Hill, the political climate, the partisanship that's up there, it's extremely difficult to get major legislation passed. And this would be major legislation, and it would be ideological based in that there'd be strong feelings from hardcore Democrats, hardcore Republicans, and it would just be very difficult to do without joint labor management agreement. I have to applaud and congratulate labor and our other employer partners for sticking with the process and working through these issues so that we got that type of an agreement that both of us could support with our heads held high and take this to Capitol Hill to benefit our industries and our constituents.
Well, I hate to have to say it, but as hard as that agreement was to get between management and labor, that could be the easiest part of the process. We have really got to get this accepted by Congress, and it could be a long road on the Hill to get it done. Now, we do have some advantages. Congress knows there is a problem with multi-employer plans. They're worried about the deficits at the PBGC. They do not want the taxpayers on the hook for plans that go insolvent. And the positive note is they're looking for solutions, and I think they're very, very happy that labor and management work together.
And what Dana says is absolutely true, particularly because this is a private sector solution. These set of recommendations are designed to take the onus off of the government or the burden off of the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation to ensuring these plans and the benefits as they go forward. We want to solve this ourselves. These recommendations give all the trustees of all the plans additional tools and options that they can enact that will take care of the problem.
So, what's our goal here? We'd really like to get this done by 2013, but definitely by the end of 2014 when the multi-employer provisions of the Pension Protection Act expire. So what do we have to do? Well, I can really guarantee you that the SMACNA lobbying team is going to be working on this every day. I've already been to dozens of appointments on Capitol Hill on this issue, but it's not enough. No, not at all. We really need the help and support of you, the contractors. You provide the jobs, you have the businesses, you're financially supporting these plans, and your constituents of the congressmen on Capitol Hill that have to address this issue. This is a business issue. In the past, when pension reform has come up, it's been portrayed as a union bailout or a labor issue. And we know nothing could be further from the truth. This goes to the very health of our industries and the very health of your businesses. Your participation, active participation, whether it's writing letters or visiting, most importantly visiting, and explaining this to your legislature so that your face as a business person is identified with this issue, is exceptionally important. It's not enough for just the professionals in Washington to carry the ball. Your face has to be on it as someone that supports these plans and makes a living in this construction industry every day. SMACNA has something like 4,500 contributing contractors, And if every one of them contacted a member of Congress, that really would make a big difference. The other thing we want people to do, we would like to see every chapter send a representative to the Legislative Conference in May. The registration form is on the website, and if you come, we'll make your Hill appointments for you. So we make it nice and easy. But why do we need you to do that? Really, because we have got to have broad bipartisan support on Capitol Hill to get this done. We've got to educate them in many cases on multi-employer plans and the collective bargaining process. Vince said it, we need them to know that this is not a union issue, this is an employer issue. And we're also going to have to educate them on the 3 components of the plan that Vince talked about, and we're going to have to sell it. That's the most important part. And they have to understand that this proposal gives the trustees and the bargaining parties the tools for self-help, and we can take the burden off PBGC. And we have to convince Congress that it is fair, workable, and a long-term solution. And I think we can do it with your help. We want you to call Vince or the Capitol Hill office if you have any questions, and otherwise, we'll see you in May.
Thanks.